Hello, guys, and welcome. I've got two stories, obviously, to tell you. Obviously, a little bit of news that's been going off, obviously, today. Um, and I'm going to start with, obviously, the guy you can see on your screen, Roy Hodgson. Now, he has agreed that he will stay on as Crystal Palace manager for the 2023-24 season, sorry. Which I think that's good news, Crystal Palace. When he came back in, Palace's performances and results improved, obviously after the sacking of Patrick Vieira in March. And he's proven he can do it at Crystal Palace before, by far. I mean, you can 100% tell that the fans were happy to see him back. I think he just somehow he manages to get the best out of Crystal Palace. It's not always gone smoothly for him while ever he's been at Crystal Palace. But I think obviously, fans of Palace will be, looking forward to the season ahead now. I think he's the right appointment. In my opinion, is there anyone out there that could do a better job than Roy Hodgson, who knows Crystal Palace well? He does know Crystal Palace quite well. Obviously, he spent quite a few years there. Then obviously he left, retired. Vieira came in. Obviously, it didn't work out well for Vieira. Hodgson came back, and he has decided he's going to stay. Whether or not it's just going to be for one season, or if they do well this season, if he will continue to stay on as Crystal Palace manager. Obviously, that is down to Roy Hodgson himself. I do think it will be an interesting season for Crystal Palace. This season, obviously, having Roy Hodgson back, obviously, they're probably not going to have Wilfried Zaha, so that's going to be something that's a little bit different as well for Crystal Palace. He's been, Crystal Palace's key player for years in the Premier League, so it's going to be strange for, obviously, Palace to get used to. Obviously, their star man has been Zaha for, like I said, for absolute years. Now they're going to have to try and find someone else who's going to have to step up and try and, go to the level Zaha has. You think it's someone like Michael Olise comes to mind, maybe. But no, altogether, I think it is an exciting one for Crystal Palace. Like I said, he just, I don't know what it is with Roy Hodgson and Crystal Palace. It's just a perfect match. I mean, he gets the best out of them a good 9 times out of 10, honestly. I mean, you saw what happened, like I said, last season. They weren't playing very well under Vieira. He was sacked. Roy Hodgson came in. Results picked up. Performances picked up. They started playing, better than what they were beforehand. And I do think it's one of them that is going to be a great appointment. Obviously, we're going to see many appointments. Obviously, we've seen Pochettino at Chelsea and things like this. But I do think it is going to be a huge one for Crystal Palace fans. Obviously, the fans absolutely love Roy Hodgson, and you can't blame him. Like I said, it's just a match made in heaven, really. When you look at Crystal Palace and Roy Hodgson, he's always, always done well for Palace as manager, and I think it's something now that something to look forward to. See how they can get on at the beginning of the season. See how they can push on under Hodgson. Obviously, Palace fans will be hoping it goes well, and it's fantastic, obviously, to see him go to 11th last season from where they were. Now, the other news I want to quickly go over, and that is that Newcastle have now announced the signing of Sandro Tonali. Now, I'm not going to lie, this is a fantastic signing for Newcastle United. I mean, honestly, when they were linked, when I were hearing little bits of rumours about, a potential transfer for Sandro Tonali, I was like, surely not. I mean, he's at AC Milan, he's done great things with AC Milan. But no, he's officially here. I think it's roughly around about 55 million they've paid for Sandro Tonali. And, that's, to be fair, for what they're getting. Obviously, he's still got plenty of time to improve. So he's not at the finished article yet either. He's got time to improve. I think this is an absolutely amazing signing for Newcastle. In my opinion, probably one of the best of the transfer window so far. He's great on the ball. He can pick a pass. He's not afraid to get in there. He's not afraid to stick his foot in and get involved in tackles and stuff. I mean, obviously he's not the tallest guy, so he's not exactly great in air, but I think he's more like of the mold of like a Luka Modric and Andre Pirlo sort of player, where he'll dictate the play. He'll sit there in midfield. He'll pass the ball about, keep possession. Try and pick people out, making a couple of runs forward, and that's obviously what Newcastle have been looking for. Obviously, previous years they were missing that sort of player in midfield. Obviously, they've got one now in Bruno Guimaraes, who's obviously as well. It's a pretty much similar mould, except for he is a little bit more defensive minded than Sandro Tonali. But no, honestly, it's probably one of the best signings of the transfer window. Definitely one of the best signings for the Premier League. I mean, if you look at Sandro Tonali, you think he'd be playing for a team, no disrespect to Newcastle, but a regular Champions League team, a Manchester City, a Manchester United, an Arsenal, them sort of teams that seem to pick them sort of midfielders. Obviously, you look at Arsenal's midfield, they keep the ball, things like that. City keep the ball. Man U were trying to go that way with players there trying to sign in Casemiro and stuff. But no, honestly, I mean, it is a fantastic signing. Obviously, he's got amazing technique as well. Like, he can keep the ball in such tight spaces. He reminds me a lot of Luka Modric, obviously with the height and the way he plays. He does remind me a lot of Luka Modric, which is, not a bad comparison, to be fair. And I think for only I think it's 50-55 million they're paying for him. That's a modest sum for someone like Tonali, to be fair. I didn't even expect Milan to be open to selling him. Like I said, I was shocked when I heard that Newcastle were interested. I was like, there's not a chance that they're going to let him go and move on. They're not going to let him leave the club. But they did. They opened talks with Newcastle, and Newcastle now, quite clearly have their man, and it is an absolutely banger of a deal for Newcastle. I mean, to have a midfielder of that calibre at your club, I think he'll do well in the Premier League. I really do. And anyway, guys, please let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you did enjoy, obviously, please do subscribe, and please leave a like. Anyway, guys, I'll see you soon.